good morning, good day, and good evening. I am, as always, Brody Robertson, and today I am looking after a dog. So you may see her running in and out of the room every so often. I don't know where she is right now. Hey, Stella, come here. Stella, she's gonna come here? I don't know. I hear her running towards me. Stella, come here. Come here. Maybe she's afraid of the office chair. Come here. Sometimes she will actually like come over, but she just got here today. This is my housemate's mum's dog. Come over here so you can at least be on the camera. You really don't like the office chair. Nope, she's gone. Okay, well, you might see her running into the room every so often, or she might just run away from me when I try to put her onto the camera. Either way, yeah. So if you hear, like, I don't know, whimpering in the background, that's going to be why. I don't have someone locked in my basement, and she can get outside. She just likes to be near people, because I'm the only one home right now. My housemate is up at the, up at his work, and I think I'm here till, like, the 18th by myself. I'm not entirely sure. And then his mum was like, hey, I'm going to Perth or something like that. So now she's here, and you know, it is what it is. And speaking of it is what it is, have you guys seen the secondhand GPU market? So when a lot of so you've probably seen a bunch of times the tech YouTubers being like, hey, and I've made a couple of these clips myself, but I don't usually talk about like GPUs and stuff on my main channel. On this podcast, I've made a couple of videos, I made a couple of clips, whatever, mentioning GPU prices, and this time it looks like GPU prices actually, you know, did come down. I'm not planning to buy a secondhand GPU, but it's always nice to like see what the pricing is actually doing. And there is a lot of cards that are being dumped out onto the market. Is there anything on the screen that I don't want to be showing? No, it just shows my name. Here we go. So this is the RX 6700 XT, which in Australia, just for reference, in Australia, this retails at, I want to say $699. So we have some cards that are 6700, some cards that are $459, not 67. The card is the 6700. You got some cards at 400, 370, 495, 650. Is this a new inbox? No, this is pre-owned. You just haven't have not caught up to anything. But a lot of these cards are coming much further down. Now, I think, yeah, this one is buy now. Some of these ones we're seeing in here are bids. So I would expect like this one here to go up a little bit higher, but I wouldn't expect much higher than like at most 500. This is where the secondhand market actually should be. Let's check some other cards. So the 6800 XT, and we'll check some Nvidia cards as well. So let's go PC case gear and check what the retail prices are. I want to say this one retails at, I want to say 1,000, 1,200. Okay. So we have buy it now for $9.99. Apparently this is new. I really doubt that's new. That's probably part of a mining rig. All of these cards are basically mining cards. Okay, yeah, this you even send a picture of it in your mining configuration. Okay. One of them's missing a fan. Used inside well-ventilated computer. Signs of cosmetic damage may be present. This one is missing a... This one in the middle is missing a fucking fan. What do you mean cosmetic damage? That's not cosmetic damage. That's a missing fan. Maybe you took the fan off to show, like, if it's clean or not, but you didn't clean it, so... Like, that's like, all dust in there. So clearly that's not the reason. Clearly that's just a missing fan. Not cosmetic damage. For anyone who might be curious, GPUs need their fans. Fans are actually quite important. Let's go check the 3070 Ti, and let's check, I guess, the 3080 Ti? Yeah, we'll do that. 3070 Ti retails at $999. So 3070. Now, also keep in mind that the new GPUs are like just around the corner as well. So this is also going to be affecting the pricing. Wow. $5.90. So yeah, retail for this one $9.99. We have one for $5.99, $5.60. This one is a bid. So that may go up, but there's 55 minutes left, so I don't expect it to go up much. Maybe much more than like 600. 675, 576, 571. Keep in mind those are bids. 700. I think 700 is the highest in the reasonable range. Like you have some of these here, like 1,099. Okay, this is a brand new card. I don't know if this is like a store that's selling this or someone who stole a card or exactly what the dealio is here. But the cards that are... Why did I just go secondhand? Wait. Or actually, let's go buy it now. Firstly, buy it now. And can I like select secondhand in here? Used. Okay. Oh, actually, we'll also put new on that list just to see what people are selling them new for. $5.99, $5.99, 675, sorry, 700, 410 to 850. Because different cards. But the 3080 would be 850. See, that's still like well within the range of where a secondhand card should actually be. Now, 3080 Ti retails at $17.99. If this is around like the 1200 mark, that would be reasonable. 1250, 1499, 1599. That's not a 3080 Ti, that's a 3080. 1900, mate, you are fucking pushing it. 2100. 2100 with $60 shipping. Mate. Why would I not just go and buy a fucking maybe not a 3090 Ti, maybe just a 3090. Let's see. 3090 is yeah, 2149. Why the fuck would I buy 2100 with $60 shipping? I think that card free shipping? Yeah, this card also has free shipping. Okay, it's sold out. Here, this one's in stock. Also, this one is $300 cheaper than like okay, $200 cheaper than this one, $300 cheaper than this one. So $19.99. No, that's a stupid price. So secondhand GPUs are well within affordable. Now, keep very much in mind that a lot of the cards here, especially like the AMD cards in like the mid-range and like Nvidia cards in mid-range as well, most of these are X-mining cards. So you're going to be pretty hit and miss over whether the card is properly stable. If you really want a good deal, this is a good way to do it. But do be very careful about what you're actually buying. And make sure you like check, like obviously you can't do a full check over of the card or things like that, but at least do a brief check over the pictures they have there. And if you can discuss it with them, like, is this an X mining card, things like that, do go and do so. Let's go and look at the card I currently have, my RX 570. This is, wow. I remember like a year ago when I was sort of joking about the fact that I could have sold my card for more than I bought it for. I think I could have sold it at the time for like $400 or $500. Now, for anyone just listening, you can buy an RX 570 for $150, $120, $200, $246, $299. You're getting way too... Wait, Apple Mac Pro 8... What the fuck? Wait, did you just put a bunch of... Is this just a generic... This is a gigabyte AMD card. Why have you got Apple Mac Pro, AMD RX 570, 4GB PCIe, video card, OS X, Mojave, Big Sur, Monterey RX 580? Compatible with Mojave, Catalina, Big Sur, OS X with Alt Boot screen. Sure, I guess I'm guessing that system must have shipped with it, or this person is just like, hey, I'm just gonna throw some keywords in like this is Wish. What are you doing, Stella? Before she was like sleeping behind my chair, like when I was editing some videos earlier. But she'll like find some place to chill at some point, or she'll just run off again and go sleep on her bed, which is like chilling out in the bathroom. I think she's here for like. Did I mention that? I don't know. I think she's here for like a week or so. I honestly got no idea. Housemate's mom was like, "Hey, just look after the dog." I'm sure she said how long it was gonna be for. I just didn't pay attention. Like, I've looked after animals for some people where it's like, "Hey, do you want to like look after the cat for a bit?" And it's like 6 months later, I still have the cat. It's like, are you going to pick up your cat? Do I now own the cat? Do I pay for like the vet fees and all of this stuff? Why is it still here? But she's going to go back at some point. Which is, it's nice to have an animal around the place, but the other problem with that is I will get very distracted very quickly. I distract myself just easily enough, just doing the normal things that I'm doing. When there is an animal running around and I'm like, "Hey, let's go pat the cute animal," it's pretty easy to decide I'm not gonna do anything right now. I'm gonna sit down and like play with his dog for an hour or something. Like, wait, maybe I should do a live stream. Maybe I should do a podcast. Maybe I should go edit some videos or do anything actually productive. But nah, it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna sit here and play with the dog. But it's a nice change, that's for sure. Because I am like, because of my housemate's work, he's usually not here, so it's usually just me by myself here, and it's nice. I like it. It's very chill. It's much nicer than a lot of the previous places I went to where it always felt like I'm just showing the GPUs. It always felt like you had someone like breathing down your throat. Like, especially because my room was always like touching the wall of whoever the person subletting the place to me, whoever like the landlord is, whatever you want to call it. Which is really annoying. Like, here, my room is literally on the opposite side of the house. Now, the walls here are made of fucking paper, so it doesn't really matter that much. But, having that separation there, it does give you at least a bit more perceived privacy, if nothing else. And as for, like, basically living by yourself, it is honestly fucking lovely. One day, I will have my own place, and that will be very nice, assuming that house prices stay somewhat in the range where I could possibly ever afford one. Not anywhere near the city, that's for goddamn sure. I don't know what it's like in your country, but Australian house prices are not great. Like, my area isn't the nicest of areas, but there's still houses in this area selling for like $500,000-$600,000 that maybe even like 5 years back would have sold for only $300,000. Like, the area I'm in, this, when I was a kid, was thought of to be the really cheap area, the area that has like the housing trust house, the government housing, or whatever like the system in your country is called. Basically, the place where they put all of the poor people, and then the new families also go and buy houses there because the houses are cheap. Like, you get like, I think the house that I grew up in, I want to say that place, because it did have a big yard, like a really big yard considering like the location. I want to say that was like 210. Now, this was like, 10, 15 years ago. I'm actually curious how much that place is worth now. Is it 14? I think this is it. Yes. Is this it? No, not Pennington. 14 Ward Street, Daveron Park. This is the house I grew up in. Okay. I was gonna say three bathrooms. No, that's 3 carport, 1 bathroom. Wait, no, 3 bedrooms. Sorry, 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 4 carport, or like 4 car spaces. You have like the 2 carports there, and then you can really fit 6 cars in here if you really try. And you've got all this area over here. Like, this is basically how it looked when. I think these actually might be the pictures from when my parents sold that house. Yeah, they've got the purple letterbox there, so it definitely was somewhat around that time. And they've got the the shade cloth and like the blinds and stuff they put up when I was living there. Right now, this place is estimated at 281. Let's see past sales. See sale history of this property. Yeah, here we go. So 2008 would have been when it was actually honestly way cheaper than I thought it was. 2008 is when my parents would have bought it then. 93 back in 93 when it was built, it sold for, or when it was first sold from, I think this place was X Housing Trust. When it was first properly sold for $38,000. That's like less than a new car today. Obviously, you know, inflation, all that stuff. We'll actually check, just for the memes, we'll check the, how much that would actually be, like, counting inflation. Why the fuck is my audio mixer floating? How did that even happen? I'll fix that later. Wait, can I show it to you guys? No, I can't show it to you guys because I'm not capturing my screen. I'm capturing the window. 175 it sold for when we bought it. Jeez. And then sold it like 8 years later for the same price, basically, like $4,000 more. Now it's 100,000 more. Like, this is obviously like an estimation, but it could go up to 320. And honestly, considering the pricing of a lot of the other area, like, it will probably go up to 320 easily. Especially, like, the street this was on, I don't know if they've built it up now. I haven't been here in a while, but because it was all, like, government housing, ex-housing trust stuff, they knocked down a lot of the houses, because a lot of those houses were built back in, like, the 70s, and they were kind of falling apart. And when something is government housing, a lot of people, you know, don't really look after the place. But a place that's 50 years old anyway and was built for government housing isn't exactly built to last, had to come down at some point. So last time I was there, the street was basically empty, except for this house. I want to say the neighbor's house was still there, and maybe like 3 or 4 houses on the street. But this area is getting like really built up, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 400,000 or 500,000 in a couple of years, which is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And, you know, a big part of the reason why I just want to go live really rural, because really rural, you just can't raise up the prices that much because there's nothing fucking out there. Like, besides obviously the holiday homes that are on the river or like anything like that, those are always going to be expensive because, you know, holiday homes, all that fun stuff. But the regular housing, like Renmark, Wakery, Berry, even like going the other direction, go down to like Murray Bridge, you can still get houses out there for like 200, 250. And because they're rural houses, they're really massive properties, like way bigger than you would ever possibly get in town, unless you paid for like a $1 million house. But, you know, that being a country house also, they're not like, I said 70s houses for like the housing trust houses. Some of these houses are even older than that. They're like, you know, fucking 70 or 80 years old rather than 50 years old. But a lot of them, because like no one wants to like get rid of those properties because they are just so cheap, a lot of people are doing them up. So the ones that are being sold, they've got like all new renovated kitchens, like everything done up. Sometimes the like living room is still like the fucking original living room, and sometimes there'll be like a fireplace there, but they've put some like what would you call it, like some plaster, like, or some gyprock or something over the fireplace, and if you go and ever knock down a wall, you realize the fucking fireplace there. So you usually have that, but as for the general utilities of the house, a lot of them are actually quite nice. I'm not going to get into a housing discussion on this podcast, because I do this every so often that I do a solo episode. It just gets to housing. I'm like, I want to buy a house at some point. This is the problem with the solo episodes. The solo episodes, you cannot tell what I'm going to talk about. It could be, hey, I'm going to talk about gaming. I'm going to talk about Linux. I'm going to talk about buying a fucking house. I'm going to talk about how I'm learning guitar back there. I think I mentioned... Hello, Stella. I think I mentioned buying that guitar, but I hadn't actually got it when I like was last doing a solo episode like 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Now it's there. You know, I'm gonna show you something. I can't actually play it on the microphone because I've got my like compressor and stuff set up. I'm gonna show you what it sounds like if I try to do that. I was actually testing this earlier because, you know, at some point I do want to do something with the guitar related to my channel. Not for a long time, but I wanted to just test how going to record it would actually go. So give me just 2 seconds. I wonder if Stella is gonna run when I try to play something. Also, playing in this chair is really uncomfortable. I'm just gonna hit one chord, and you'll see how bad this sounds. We'll even give it like a good situation. We'll put the microphone right here. Fuck this. This is why no one plays guitar with chairs with armrests on them. Can I fucking hold the pick properly? Like that probably sounded horrendous. I'll do it one more time. That's supposed to be an E minor. Give you a G as well. That would have sounded fucking terrible. I'm gonna stop that now. Maybe considering how close it was, it would have at least had some possibility of sounding somewhat decent. I guarantee that in person, it sounds like a proper chord. That's just my compressor and just my noise suppression completely fucking up. It's the same reason why a lot of the time I can't actually use my like effects mixer, because like audio is very particular about when you actually apply filters and things like that, because you can't like take a filter off. Obviously you can disable it, but I mean, like, you can't undo a filter later in the audio chain, like with image editing. So if you were to say change the hue of an image and then apply contrast, that is going to be like, even if it's the exact same settings, it is going to be a different result as if you did that in the opposite direction. So apply the contrast and then change the hue. The same thing is true about audio. So because I have my noise suppression, like, what I would ultimately like to do, I want to do what DT is doing at some point and actually have like a hardware audio suppressor, hardware noise suppression, hardware compressor, things like that. But right now, as it stands, I've got the noise suppression and the compressor like basically at the end of my chain. So I can't really do much to like, you know, mess around with that, because I can't put it before my my audio mixer, for example. So like, yeah, that probably made no sense. Basically, the idea is that the noise suppression is there, and there's a lot of really low, not like low as in like bassy, like low volume parts of a guitar strum, and like basically all of that is getting completely cut out. So it just doesn't work. Now, I probably could deal with it by like raising up the gain of the mixer, but ultimately the best way to be capturing it is not using the fucking noise suppression. So at some point over on my gaming streams, over on like my streaming channel, I might at some point when I learn how to play a song actually do something. I'm learning what everyone plays when they first learn to play guitar, and that's Smoke on the Water, because Smoke on the Water, 1 is a great song, and 2 is a very fucking easy song. But I'm not just focusing on learning a song. Like, I'm actually just really enjoying learning different aspects of like playing the guitar. There is in case anyone is interested in learning guitar, there is a really good series to watch. Actually, there's honestly a lot of great content on learning music at this point. I would recommend going...
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Stop. Shut the fuck up, Marty. Let's see. Guitar lesson. Go to Marty Music's channel, Marty Schwartz's channel, and this is the series. Beginner acoustic lesson 1, and then I don't know how far he actually goes with this, but I've been slowly making my way through this series. I've done E minor, A sus2, and there's another lesson in there for the A major, and then the G major. What I've been doing is basically giving myself like 5-10 minutes every day. I've only been doing it for like 4 or 5 days, so like keep in mind, very, very, very early start. Give myself like 5-10 minutes every day, except for the weekend where I have a lot more time. So I would sit down. Honestly, like Saturday and Sunday, I sat down for like maybe an hour and a half on both days, just going through this lesson, redoing stuff, practicing playing chords in different orders, things like that. And I am honestly really, really enjoying it. I wish I'd picked up playing guitar a long time ago. I actually did play guitar back in high school. Like not like, really play guitar. I did like guitar during my music classes. And I really enjoyed it back then. The problem is that back then, the resources that are available now just firstly didn't exist. Like this series from Marty like came out 6 years ago, which is still a while ago now, but relative to when I was in high school, like this came out like after I was done in high school. The way he's approaching this and the way he's teaching it is so much nicer than my music teacher ever did. There are so many good resources to just learn, not just music, like anything you want to learn. Like, you're not gatekept by going to a course or going to like go to a teacher or something like that. There's so much stuff that you can just really, not easily, but like you can self-teach yourself in a way that's not just, hey, you're going through things blindly. You're actually getting guidance on how to properly do things. Like, I would never have worked out what the fuck an E minor is without having some sort of guidance there, or working out how the G chord works, or anything like that. But you can just find this so easily now, and it's not just this channel. Like, if you look up beginner guitar lessons, the reason why I went with Marty is because, well, Marty's is literally the top, even though it doesn't have as much views, which is weird. Maybe I'll go through this guy's as well. The nice... Okay. Is he trying to sell a course as well? That might also be why Marty is, like, covering most of this. Oh my god, his content is, like, pretty much all of it. But, what was I saying there? Yeah, just, if you want to learn guitar, go check his channel out. Very good. I'm very much enjoying it. I don't know if later in the series he goes over things like music theory or anything like that. What we've been going through with this is basically just how to play the different chords. And I agree with him, this might be the best way to, like, it may not be the best way, long term to properly learn guitar, but initially I would agree it's the best way because I'm really enjoying it. Like, this is something that like, on the weekend, I will play for like half an hour, and then I'm like, hey, I should put this down because my fingers are hurting. But then, like, I'm like, hey, I want to keep playing this. Like, I want to go back and play some more. And then I'll play for like another 10, 15 minutes. That's honestly the big thing that is really stopping me right now. The fact that playing any chords, like, really fucking hurts my fingers. It's getting better. It's honestly getting, like, better. It's, like, surprisingly quickly. I thought developing the calluses would take quite a bit more time, but yeah, that first day and that second day was actually way worse. Second day, I was like, am I going to develop blisters on my fingers? Obviously, stop if it's, like, really, really starting to hurt and you feel like this is actually, like, a serious problem. But, like, no matter how much you do, it's always gonna hurt. Like, it's gonna hurt initially. I remember it hurting back when I was in high school, and, like, it's definitely hurting now. But I think once I get past that point, this is gonna be something that I sort of stick with for quite a while. Like, I wanted something... It's the problem with my hobbies, right? Most of my hobbies are computer-based. Like, I enjoy gaming. I enjoy messing around with Linux. I enjoy, what else? I enjoy my Japanese study, which is done on a computer. And all of these things are great, and I really enjoy them. But I wanted to do something where I don't need to be on a computer. I can just be like, hey, I'm going to sit down, and I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to sit here and chill, play some guitar, and enjoy myself. And, it works pretty well for that. I know that, like, I've also said I enjoy golf. The problem with golf, like, I still enjoy it, and I still, like, enjoyed, yeah. Oh, still enjoy it. The problem with golf is, like, a whole day thing. So it's not a thing that I can just be like, hey, I'm gonna, like, between recording videos, for example, I don't just... Oi, what are you doing? I don't just go and be like, hey, I'm gonna go do, like, a 9 holes right now. That's just not, or even, like, 1 hole. Like, you have to, like, go plan stuff and go down to a golf course and do all of that stuff. Obviously, you can do, like, practicing your swings and stuff at home, but with the guitar, like, with, like, any sort of simpler hobby like that, I can just be like, hey, what are you doing? Give me just a moment. And I'm back. What I was saying was I can just pick up the guitar and just go. No extra planning there, nothing else involved. There's also a bit like the sort of the show off thing, being able to play guitar there is a part of my ego that's like, hey, I like the idea of just being able to say I know how to play the guitar and just being able to play off some random song. Especially because there's a lot of people I know who have tried to pick up like guitar over the years and just never really stuck with it. There's always going to be that bit of ego element to anything you want to pick up, like anything involved like that. But the main thing about it is anything you want to do really is if you're enjoying it, then try it out. So in this series that Marty was doing, he was saying that you should probably keep it up, like, 5-10 minutes a day, whatever you can manage, for 2 or so months. And then after that time, then decide whether you want to keep it, like, long term. And I think that's honestly a good way to approach it, because a lot of people may not really enjoy it from the start, or they may be like me, where they are really enjoying it from the start, but whether that actually continues is another question. If you don't, like, you still don't enjoy it after 2 months, maybe playing the guitar just isn't for you, and hey, that's fine. But if you really enjoy it at the start, this is something that I tend to have happen with a lot of the things I try. Like, if, back when I was a kid and did taekwondo, if I was to pick up, like, jiu-jitsu or something now, if I was to, play the guitar, anything that I do, I tend to really enjoy it at the start. It's just a question of whether I will continue to enjoy it as I go on, or I'll, maybe get to a wall or something. I'm like, hey, I just don't want to deal with this, or something like that. I don't see that happening. A lot of the time, like, I'll keep that early momentum going for probably longer than I should. Like, there are some things that I do, which, not in every case is, productive use of your time, that I will, ow, that I'll just keep going and going and going and going and going for. But yeah, I highly recommend you, get yourself a hobby. It doesn't have to be music. Just don't be like what I was doing, where I let myself fall into a rut. Like, I talked about burnout last week, and that's what last week, the week before, that's what that was. I let myself, like, fall into a rut and just do the same thing every single day. Mix it up a bit. You don't have to be good at things. Plus, like, learning new things ultimately has a positive effect on other things you are doing in your life. Like, even if the skills aren't directly transferable, like, fucking taekwondo isn't directly transferable into guitar playing, or guitar playing isn't directly transferable into, I don't know, a gaming thing like playing Apex. Getting good at different things, firstly, it feels good. Like, that's first and foremost. It is an enjoyable experience to go from a beginner at something to that, like, intermediate stage where, you've got a general idea about what you're doing wrong and how much further you can go. But, you're in that stage where you're not seeing those massive improvements anymore. This is sort of where I am with kanji at this point. But as you get through that and you actually may not become a master at something, but you've become like, somewhat competent at it. This is where I feel like I'm at with my YouTube, for example. Knowing that you can do that, and knowing that you can do that again and again, and no matter how old you get, you can pick up something new, and you can learn it, and you can, develop those skills and continue developing as a person, that I think is knowing that you can do that is going to help you with other things you want to be doing, if that makes any sense. I'm just repeating things that I've heard much more intelligent people than I say. I'm not making some, original point here. I'm just like, hey, smart person said thing, I'm gonna say what smart person said, basically. But isn't that how basically every podcast host goes? It's like, I'm just gonna say things that sound somewhat intelligent, and just pretend like it's my own thing, because I don't remember who said it to me, but it's in my brain now. So if it's in my brain, that means that it's something that I made. Yes. Speaking of things and things that I made, I feel like I now have too much power on my Twitter. I can say some stupid fucking thing, and somehow it gets way more attention than it ever should. So I tweeted out this the other day. Guess I tweeted this out yesterday for me, a week ago for you guys. I don't know. Non-developers talking about programming issues is always adorable. Non-dev here. Can't you just slap an AI on the logic, an API on the logic, and merge with an existing AMD app? So this is making a AMD control panel sort of thing. I'm curious what slap an API on the logic looks like in your head. Replying to a previous comment, but almost all the business logic should be redone to accommodate AMD/Intel GPUs. As opposed to redoing all the business logic, port all the business logic over to an AMD app or vice versa by adding an interface to both. Elaborate, please, this is funny. And this got fucking 412 likes and 33 retweets. What the hell? Why are people paying attention to things that I'm putting out? Or another one was from an earlier day where I pissed off some people about Windows. Where is it? Where is the Windows 7 tweet? Here's the follow-up to it. Didn't think saying I don't run Windows 7 in 2022 was controversial. There are only two reasons to still be using it. Firstly, you have a specialized use case where the software you need can only run on Windows 7. Secondly, you bought a computer a decade ago and have no idea what an OS is. And I think most people would be pretty much in agreement with that. You probably shouldn't be using Windows 7, and if you are using Windows 7 but you don't know what a computer is, you don't understand operating systems or anything like that, totally fine. Doesn't matter if you're still using it. Because look, a lot of people will say they're using Windows 7 because they don't like the telemetry in Windows 10 and 11. But if your plan to escape Microsoft telemetry is to run a system with 7+-year-old unpatched exploits, that's insane. I did make a mistake on the year that the extended support ended. So extended support and extended service something or other. Extended security updates. So extended support ended in 2020. So for free users, people who are still using Windows 7, those people, they basically don't get any updates after that point. So after 2020, no more updates for Windows 7, with the exception of paying for extended security updates. I mixed up some dates. I thought that extended support was part of the paid thing. Someone might say, but what about developing nations that can't afford new hardware? Which I think is a totally legitimate concern and might be a fine reason for running Windows 7 or running an older operating system. But I feel like that's like a totally legitimate concern. But instead of running a highly insecure OS, you are much better off using any modern Linux distro. Now, obviously, if you're at a business and they rely on some specific software or something like that, like maybe you require Teams or some other weird bit of software that doesn't work properly on Linux or simply just doesn't work on Linux full stop, you know, it makes sense why you would need to be using Windows then. But a lot of that software is slowly not supporting Windows 7 anyway, so it's not going to even be like a valid choice to be using Windows 7 in like maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 more years. Like, I know a lot of games that are coming out aren't supporting Windows 7. A lot of software is updating past the Windows 7 support period. And software that is on like a software that used to work, and like maybe there's still a version of that program that works on Windows 7, because it relies on like the servers being run by the company, they might just not support having that older version running on their servers anymore. But like, I will put out stupid tweets like this, and people will actually like take what I'm saying as like some super serious thing. Where was the other one? Before I went to bed last night, I literally just tweeted GNOME, and I woke up and it has fucking 20 comments and 70 likes. I didn't tweet anything. I just tweeted the word GNOME. Why? Stop it. And like, people have been arguing about GNOME and stuff in the comment section. Some people that are like, hey, look, haha, funny gnome word. But like, there were people who had actual discussions about KDE and GNOME in my comment section. Like, stop it! Stop! What are you doing? I'm just tweeting out a word because I'm fucking with all of you people. But for some reason, I've gotten to this position, and this is not me bloating. Gloating? Bloating and gloating are very different words. This is not me gloating. I don't know how I got into this position where people, like, not just on my Twitter, on my YouTube, will, like, hear what I say, and I am treated as some, like, fucking authority on things. How did that happen? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense, and it will never make sense. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Is it just the fact that a lot of the content on the, like, in the Linux space is just, a lot of it is more opinion-based stuff rather than like, obviously my content isn't purely factual as well. Like, I include a lot of opinion stuff, but usually my content is primarily, hey, this is what is happening, this is, like, going over resources, like, going over sources, things like that, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to rant about this thing that's going on. I don't, like, my content used to be like that, and I felt like it did well, but nowadays, the way that I'm doing it, it seems like it's a lot more consistent than what I was doing previously. And I think maybe it's just the way that I'm, the content I'm approaching here just isn't really being filled with the, in the Linux niche. Like, you've got a lot of distro reviewers, you've got a lot of people that are, you know, looking at software, and I still look at software myself, just not as often. You've got a lot of people that are doing the opinion-based stuff on, like, random, you know, Linux cultural topics, but there's not really that many people, besides, like, Nick from the Linux Experiment, not that many people, and he does, like, multiple topics, doing deep dives on, like, you know, things that are interesting, but not necessarily things that are, you would instantly jump to as, like, a primary story. Like, most people wouldn't see, like, let's see a recent video I put up. Oh, I did a video about a very specific update to the 5.19.12 kernel that was killing Intel screens, or, like, screens on Intel laptops. Or I did a video about Debian voting on non-free firmware. Or, like, I guess the Manjaro shipping a broken kernel is a little bit different. I did a video on the next phase for Rust in the Linux kernel, which is basically a write-up going over a Q&A with the some Linux maintainers over Rust in the kernel. And all of these topics, like, they're not the obvious popular videos in the Linux space. Like, the obvious popular videos are the, hey, Linux Mint is an amazing operating system. Linux Mint or Linux Ubuntu versus Debian Ubuntu. Which distro is better? Which distro is good for a beginner? Or, like, these are the sort of videos that when I thought of Linux space a couple of years back, these are the videos I thought of as the ones that do really well. And I'm sure they still do well, and the channels that do them, you know, probably doing well for themselves. But I think that the direction I've taken the channel is one, it's sort of fitting what I find interesting. I like to do these deep dives on these random topics that you would think no one actually cares about, but if you frame it in a certain way, can be really interesting. And two, content that isn't really being touched by that many people. In a lot of cases, a lot of the videos that I've done recently, nobody else had done videos on. Even though it was like, you know, sometimes I'm a couple of days late. Or in some cases, it's just really, what's the word, greenfield? Yeah, greenfield is when it's something new, isn't it? Greenfield development, something like that. Like the weirdest AUR package. This video, it's like about a very specific topic. It's about the AUR. So firstly, you would think it limits you to Arch Linux users. But when you try to, like, discuss some, like, oddity with the AUR, that might expand out past those users to a more, like, general Linux audience who are like, what is this weird thing going on in the AUR? Like, should I check this out? Is this actually somewhat interesting? And that video got, like, 26,000 views, which a year ago would be unheard of from my channel. And, a lot of my recent videos are going, like, above 10k views. Just remember, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but, like, a couple of months back, like, 4k was, like, big numbers for, like, a regular video. If I did, like, really well, maybe it would be, like, an 8k video. But it does remind me of a amusing comment I got a year ago. This person, I think I've banned them from my comment section now because they kept annoying me over all of this time. And I got sick of them, so I banned them. It's pretty difficult to get banned from my comment section. If you manage to do that, honestly, like, I can't find it now because Discord's not working. Like, if you get banned from my comment section, you fucked up. You really fucked up if you got banned from my comment section. Because I just let that comment section is just wild. Pretty much the only things that aren't allowed, I will block out things that are part of known spam messages. So when they're using, like, you know, special Unicode that wouldn't appear in a normal discussion, and in a specific way that makes it look like some other words, things like that, you know, someone trying to evade the Insta block or the Insta spam filter by writing porn in a different way or crypto in a different way, things like that. Like, those sort of forms I'll have on the block list, and, you know, known spam links, known scam links, and I like there are some details out there that have been made public that I also have on the Insta delete list as well. But if you manage to get yourself banned from my comment section, you've got to try real hard. Usually the only way someone gets banned, besides obviously the bots, like the bots are just insta ban. Usually the only way someone gets banned from my comment section is they are so stupid and so committed to being stupid and have to comment on every single thing that I say and start an argument, not just with me, but with other people as well, that I'm just like, I don't want to deal with you anymore. Like, you are actually wasting time out of my day that I just want to use on anything else. So, I want to say I've banned, gotta be less than like 5 people from my comment section. At absolute most, like 5 or maybe 6 or so people, but it's certainly no more than like, it's not more than, it's not 10. It's definitely not 10. Actually, I can check right now, see how many people. Actually, this might be hard to tell because I also have people that are, like bots that are being banned from, by runs, and so this list might actually be way longer than I ever thought it was. But like, if someone's being mean to me, like whatever, I actually don't care. Um, it's usually if you're just being genuinely annoying. Yeah, a lot of it here is just bots. Um, yeah, so I can't actually tell you how many people I've done. Maybe it was less actually. Maybe it was like 3. One. I know this person. I'm not going to show you it just because I don't want to put names on the screen. Yeah, like 2 or 3 people, I guess. Don't get so banned from my comment section. Like, just be a normal person. I think one thing that I want to make very clear is if someone wants to be critical of me, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead. But if you're going to be critical of me, I expect you to have actually done the research and show me where I'm wrong. Like, if I make some point about the Rust language or about the Linux kernel or about, I don't know, some program or something that was said here or something like that, if you're going to be critical of what I'm saying, I expect you to have actually read the information and show me where I'm wrong. I will not listen to a word you are saying if you're just like, oh, you're wrong. Like, okay, so are you. Like, what the fuck are you saying? But there have been people who've had these, like, you know, well-researched, well-thought-out rebuttals to what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I guess I was wrong about that, and that's fine. And I think that's a healthy way to look at it. Like, you definitely can't. I think there are extremes here which aren't very helpful, but when you get to a certain size, they're kind of a necessity. Like, there are a lot of big people who don't read any of their comments, and I feel like that's a very easy way to start getting out of touch with what people actually want from your content. I don't think that's a healthy way to approach it. I think it works for some people. Like, you get to a point of critical mass. Like, you're a Joe Rogan, for example, where you are so big that it doesn't really matter. Also, people have just been there the entire time just to hear you basically being you. So if something you say just, you know, doesn't really align with something, or it's just nonsense. Speaking of nonsense, I put out a lot of nonsense on the podcast. But when it's like that, that's different from being I'm in, like, obviously small relative to, like, the 6 million subscriber creators, but in the Linux space, I'm in, like, that mid to, like, high tier right now. And I feel like that's an area where you get a lot of feedback. Some of that feedback is useful. Like, one of the things I heard recently is my microphone was. I've had some people tell me, look, my microphone sounds terrible. If you think this mic sounds terrible, you need new ears. What you might think sounds terrible is my voice. The mic sounds great though. But someone said my mic was, like, way too quiet. They would go from my video to someone else's video, and either their speakers would be fucking loud, or their speakers would be nowhere near loud enough to actually hear me. So I jacked up that volume, and I'm sort of testing around some audio stuff right now just to see where it should probably be. I have still considered actually, like, foaming the walls. I just haven't gotten around to it. Maybe I'll have to do that at some point in the relatively near future, because it's fine when I'm sitting here, But when I stand up and when I like look up, the echo is, and you may be able to like even, I don't know if you can hear it because of the noise suppression, but I can certainly hear an echo on like from the top. Floor's fine because, you know, the fucking carpet, but it might be worth actually looking into putting some foam up. I don't know how well it's gonna go, but I definitely noticed it a lot more when I first started with the guitar. Like, that pointed out the echo real fucking hard. But it's also just started to generally annoy me a bit. Plus, you know, foam's cheap and all that. I've just had a lot of things on my plate that I had to buy, like when my fucking battery died in my car the other day. I think I told this story. Did I tell this story? My battery died in my car. And at that point, I was going to be buying a car that week. And now things have been delayed, so it's not like that big of a deal. But I was going to be buying a new car at the end of that week. And I just, literally 3 days before I got a new car, it was like, hey, battery dead, buy a new battery. I've got to pay for my fucking car rego as well. I think that's due a couple of weeks from now. The guitar wasn't expensive. That was like $100. But like, I think I had some bills, some like other bills. Oh, I had my tax. I did my tax a little while back. Fucking $450 bill or something, which, you know, better than the bill I had the previous year. I feel like I told that story. Maybe I did. Yeah, last year it was like a $10,000 bill or something like that because was it last year or was it the year before? One of the years. It was the year where the crypto market just fucking woo. It was the point where it was at this. It was before this point. I'd sold at this point, and you know, when you sell a bunch of crypto, it's like, hey, pay your tax, buddy. Don't fuck with the tax agents. That's a good. You know what? If you take any takeaway from anything I've ever said, if you want to fuck with, you know, I don't know, the whatever your driving association is called, like the group that manages licenses. If you want to fuck with the police, if you want to fuck with, I don't know, anybody else, don't do it. I'm not saying you should, but if you want to, you'll probably be fine. Don't fuck like with your tax agent, like your tax collector, anything like that. The tax people, they will fucking destroy you. Make sure you pay your taxes, make sure you pay it on time, and get your information correct. Yes. But yeah, $450 compared to that previous bill was a certainly an improvement. You know, it wasn't like optimal. I would like to have not have had a bill, but you know, when you are making money over the year and you don't pay any tax on that money until the end of the year, you know, I guess I was paying a bit, just not anywhere near enough to make sure there was no bill. I might up my quarterly payments this year just to make sure I don't have a bill at the end. But you know, we'll see. Plus, I don't have any major channel expenses I want to be making over this year. I am pretty much like set with everything that I want. I think like there are things that I would like to do in the future. Like I would like to move up to the Canon what the fuck was the camera called? Is it the Cameron the Cameron cameras? No, the Canon R10? Yeah, the Canon R10, which is a new camera from Canon. I don't know if I'm gonna stick on if I go from what I'm on now, my M200 up to the R10. This is going to a completely different camera lens mount. So my current lenses won't work on this body, and you can't like adapt them or anything like that. So I would have to decide whether I'm going to stick with Canon or go over to something like Sony instead. This is like a long way in the future for me deciding whether I want to do this. Let's go buy the body only. Let's check out Harvey Norman. Because you can get this, what is it, $1,200? Or did they change the price? Last I looked, it was Okay, it's 1500 now. Maybe I was looking somewhere else. Maybe I was looking at a different camera. Maybe I was. Wait, what was the thing of the R7? Wait, give me 1 second. Or is the R7 the more expensive one? Because when I looked at it before, I think they'd actually like made it really confusing where the R10 was more expensive than the R7. Yeah, here you go. You would usually with like a product line, you would think bigger number. Oh, you would think bigger number means better camera or better product. No, in this case, it's the other way round. The lower the number, but only specifically with this camera. Like the other cameras they have, a lot of them go in like increasing order. But yeah, this is going from the... Right now, I'm on the EFM mount. That is what is used on their like low-end mirrorless cameras. But Canon is basically killing off that segment. So yeah, right now there's like I think 2 cameras that are still EFM cameras. There's the M200 and the M50. I want to say Canon EFM cameras. Let's have a look. I think those are the ones that are still being manufactured. Like there was another one in there that you could get up until like earlier this year, but that one, yeah, that one's not exactly around anymore. Or was it the RP I was thinking of? Wait, sorry, it might not even been the R10. It might have been the RP, and I might just be completely forgetting what I was saying, like completely mistaking what I was saying. Is Canon's website gonna load? It just froze. Good job, Canon. Oh, there we go. Oh. Okay, maybe it wasn't this one. Maybe it was the R10. Sure, my browser just broke. Sure, whatever. Right, yeah. What I was saying was there was another camera in the EFM line. I don't remember what it was called, but Canon decided to discontinue it, and there's concerns they might discontinue the other EFM cameras. Plus, there's just not that many lenses on the EFM platform because it's, you know, their low-end platform. So, yeah, going up to the RF line is probably a lot better for the longevity of using the camera. Because once you have lenses, like, you'll replace out your camera body every so often, but the lenses you have, as long as you're not scratching them, as long as you're not being really stupid with them, you can keep, like, your lenses around for a long-ass time. So getting to a more sustainable platform seems like it might be a good idea. Also, this is a 4K camera, not that I can particularly work super well with 4K on Linux because of the GPU stuff and all of that, but I would mess around with it, see if it would be at least, feasible to do any 4K stuff. But I would still keep the M200 around. Like, I've still got this lens for it, and I like the lens. It's a really nice lens. I don't know why I swapped that. But I'd probably keep it around as like a B-roll camera. Like, one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of like vlog stuff, and I don't do a lot of, moving around stuff, is it is kind of a pain to have to take my camera off the stand and then drag it around, and then when I do stuff up there again, I have to put it back and then readjust stuff. It's not a major deal. Like, I could do it. It's just, I could also not do it. So, yeah, I usually fall on the not do it side. And I don't know. I think when I do get a new camera, that's probably going to be like as high end as I go. Like, I don't think there is any productive reason to go above, like, I think it's a $1,500 camera Australian. I want to say it's 1,500. This is the most, like, the most it makes sense to do for a YouTube camera. Like, I know, LTT is like, hey, let's go to a fucking, $10,000 camera, but, you know, for normal things that you're doing, for regular people out there making regular videos, which is what LTT is really like. They could get by fine with a $1,500 camera, but it's like, hey, let's just burn money on insanely expensive cameras. I'm not gonna do that because I want to burn my money on other things, which I think is a more, you know, maybe a better use of your money. You know, one day, maybe sometime next year, I'll buy this camera. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I will have to, you know, I'll have to consider what I want to do when we get a bit closer to that point. Decide whether it's actually worth it, anything like that. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. You know, at some point I will have to replace this camera. Like, one day, this camera is going to break. So, you know, I don't know. When did I get this camera? Like, I think... I'm going to check. Because I did a video on this camera. Brody Robertson camera. I have had this for... Didn't I do a video on the camera? I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. I thought I did a video. Did I not do a video on this camera? God, look at this. look at ancient Brody. Look at Brody in the purple background. Wait, let's see my background. Wow, look at that. My face was horribly lit there. And I'm very shiny as well. Like, look at this the purple isn't a bad look, but like I was horribly lit. Like my face is so badly lit. I look like the background is so much brighter than my face ever was. And then my hair light is just way too bright as well. We've done this before. We're not doing this again. We're not going to rant about my terrible lighting. I kind of want to do something with this room. Like, I like the more, you know, not a gamer look. I like what I've got going on right now. But it might be nice to experiment with some stuff. Because I do have some lights sitting around that I could play around with. Plus the fact that I have, like, more going on in the background. It might actually be a bit more of a acceptable look. Plus, I have these lights that are actually good lights now. So, having enough brightness there to, you know, effectively light my face and light my face in a more, you know, natural tone like you're seeing. Like, maybe I don't know. I'm still messing around with these lights. I started playing around with the settings again. I know it's like really blown out here. At my normal sitting distance, I think this looks good. Like, I think I could probably get some... Maybe I could mess around with the positioning of the lights and get something that looked a little bit better in some cases. Like, this light, maybe if I brought it over a bit more closer to the camera, it would look better. But I think brightness-wise, with the way it's set up as it stands, this looks good. I think. I think. But actually, I'll turn my overhead light. So, like, right now, my backdrop is just being lit up by my, my overhead, like, ceiling light. So we'll turn that off and just see how it looks. Also, keep in mind that I do have my window open here, so, like, some of that light is coming through. You know, maybe lighting that up wouldn't be a bad look. Plus, the benefit I have now is because my room is so much bigger than it was at the previous place. Like, one of the problems I had with that shot I showed before is because the room was so big, so small, sorry, and I wanted to get the color, you know, a certain level of brightness, it had this issue where the light from behind me would reflect onto my face. So my face would have this, like, purple or green or red glow to it that I don't think looked very good. But with the way this looks now, I think I could... I think I could do something with it. Like, I've considered running. This is something I wanted to do ages ago, actually. I've considered running like LEDs, maybe under here, and then maybe like, under the um the pictures, the posters, that one. And then maybe I could like put some lights in where the figures and stuff are. I don't know. I don't know. I think like this, the way it's set up, like the way the room is laid out now, it gives me so much more flexibility. The problem is that I'm not fucking doing anything with the flexibility. It's like, hey, look at this. I have a bigger room. I can do stuff with it. And I don't do anything with it. I just downgrade, and it like I have less going on than I used to have. Which I think in some ways, I think doing less, but doing it like better, looks better than doing a lot and doing it terribly, which is what I was doing. I had the fucking purple lights, and I had the like lights changing color, and it looked like it looked better in that room than doing nothing, just because that room had nothing going on in the background. Now that I have things back there, it's like a lot more exciting back there. I still need to get another bookshelf to put in that bit. Yeah, there you go. In that bit there. So those books down the bottom can stop being down the bottom and actually be in a fucking bookshelf. Because, the figure stand there, the figure cabinet, we'll call it. I guess this side's better. That is, I guess, technically a bookshelf. Hey, look, here you go. Get some feet. There you go. For your feet, guys. That's technically a bookshelf. It's a terrible bookshelf because, the back doesn't have, like, there's, like, one side that has a back, the other side doesn't. So if you put books in there, some of them might fall out the back. Plus, it comes so far forward, there's just so much wasted space. It's not a good bookshelf, but it is great as a figure cabinet. And I'm really happy with, using it, like, for that. It is technically, getting a little bit full in some areas. But when I get that bottom area down there, I'll have one more shelf to work with. Also, I occasionally just throw random junk up there as well. So we have, here we have some, like, spare guitar strings. Or we have a box from, my Arias, my earphones that I usually wear on stream. We've got a knife. It's a safety knife. Also, it's covered in glue. What is this? We've got an orange filter for my old lights, which I don't actually need for the new lights. Like, I can't use it on the old lights, but for the new ones, they actually have, like, orange globes in them. So, like, filters like this are not particularly necessary. Actually, one thing I had considered doing to actually light up the backdrop, if I wasn't going to use, like, LED strips, which I think is probably the best way to do it, but if I wasn't going to do that, what I could do is, like, get cellophane and put it onto my old lights. I could do it, like, super ghetto, like I was, like I was doing with my old lights, or I could do it properly. I've not really considered what I should be doing. One thing I think might be a good idea, though, is like getting some sort of like lamp to put back there, like, some stupid lamp or like a light up penguin or something like that. I've not found anything that really fits what I actually want it to be, but I think that would be amusing. I'm going to turn the light back on now, so like the background doesn't look as bad as it does. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Look at that. Much better. Worse? Better? I don't know. I think this looks better than not having the light on. Got a notification on my phone. What is this about? Why am I getting messages? What does Dylan want? Let's find out. You know someone. What is this? I'm after a young boilermaker, fresh out of their time. EBA company, $65 an hour. Work is construction in the warehousing sector. It's a great opportunity for a young guy or girl to get into the construction industry and learn for myself and my other boilermakers. Must have own transportation to site. Would also need Boom lift high risks 18-year-old plus only. Yeah, if anyone wants a job as a boilermaker, I guess go check out the Awesome Boilies page on Facebook. I don't have qualifications as a boilermaker, but I don't know if this is a thing like for you guys, but I've got a lot of friends who, for some reason or another, are like, I want to be a boilermaker. I want to be a boilermaker. And, that's great. I'm not disrespecting people who want to go and pick up a trade. Like, if you want to be an electrician, you want to be a plumber, or you want to be, a mechanic or a panel beater or anything like that. But there's so many fucking people who, like, do one trade, and then, like, I'm going to be a boilermaker now. Like, why does everybody want to be a fucking boilermaker? How many boilers do we need? Like, so many, especially, like, mechanics that I've met, like, I want to be a goddamn boilermaker. Like, I'm sure that's a great job, but, like, how, like, Boilermaker is the programmer of the, Boilermaker is the programmer of the, like, the trades. Everybody fucking wants to do it, and it's probably good money as well. It's probably why people want to do it. But, I don't know. There actually was a time when I was, like, before I knew that I wanted to do programming, then I, finished uni, I didn't do programming. When I was, like, in high school, that point where you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. Am I gonna, like, go get a trade? Am I gonna go to university? During that period which some of you probably are in, or, may still be in your fucking 30s or something. Like, I don't know what I'm fucking doing with my life. I'm just gonna keep winging it and see what happens. During that period, I was heavily considering becoming an electrician. Because, like, I had always enjoyed messing around with tech. But I didn't know what I wanted to do with tech. Like, did I want to, like, do electronics? Did I want to go do engineering, or, like, maybe software engineering, maybe electrical engineering? Did I want to go, work at a PC shop? What the hell did I want to do? Because all I knew is I wanted to do something with tech. That is the only, like, since I was very, very young, like, old enough to really know, firstly, what a future is. Secondly, like, what a career is. And thirdly, that I had any interest in tech. So, like, I think the first time I used a computer was, like, a Windows 98 machine in, like, 2000 and, I don't know, 4 or something. I don't know, something like that. From that point onwards, I knew that I wanted to be involved in tech. And then as I, like, started playing video games, that was sort of set in place as well. But I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I've still I'm doing that now as well. Like, it's just, I've tried out so many different things. Like, hey, you're gonna, I don't know what this is. It's supposed to be a snake, but I'm doing it really badly. I've just tried out so many things, and in some cases, not even tried out, like, sort of just looked more into them. And things just didn't really click with me. Things didn't really click with me until I got to programming. Like, programming was the first thing that I thought, hey, I could actually see myself doing this for my entire life. Now, that hasn't gone super well right now. I've sort of shifted again, but, like, I wouldn't be depressed going and being, like, a code monkey my entire life. I don't know what I would want to do, like, whether it's, like, web development or back-end stuff or kernel development or developing corporate software or what exactly I'd want to be doing, but I could still see myself doing the programming thing. And if the YouTube thing doesn't work out, that's what I'm going to be doing. Like, if it gets to the point where I feel like just things aren't going well, or maybe, like, I get bored of it, I just can't deal with doing it anymore, I have that ability to, like, sort of roll it down a bit and also keep doing, like, start working on a portfolio, for example. Like, what I would do if I needed to stop doing the YouTube thing is I would basically take a year, maybe 2 years, and go, like, fucking hard making a portfolio. Working on different projects, looking at, like, the jobs that are around, trying to work out exactly what I wanted to do, and get some sort of entry level position. And that, I think, would work out pretty well, especially due to the fact that I know a lot of people that, you know, have been doing programming stuff for a while now. You know, but look, hopefully by the time that the YouTube thing fails and I need to get an actual job, some of those people are in management positions, and then I can, like, hey mate, can you like get me a fucking job? I haven't done programming like 5 years, but I've got this portfolio here. Make your connections. That's the most important point. Connections, connections, connections. Developers, developers, developers. No, seriously, like, if I was in a situation where I had to, like, go do that, I wouldn't hate it. Like, I enjoy programming. The only reason I don't program as much anymore is, I just don't, like, have anything. Like, right now, I only really program if there's something that I need to get done. Like, hey, there's a program that I want to be using, but it doesn't exist. Usually it's like, hey, I want to do something for myself. It's not as much I'm just programming for the sake of programming. That's where I was when I was during university, before I found the content creation thing. And I think I could reawaken that if I needed to. It's just right now I don't really need to. I still do get comments from my. I think it's slowly getting to the point where my parents is like starting to accept what I'm actually doing. Like, my mum was never, disapproving of me going and doing the YouTube thing. She was very questioning initially, like, when I was still at university and doing the YouTube. She's like, oh, I'm just doing a thing on the side. But then when I finished uni and I didn't get a programming job, and I just kept doing the YouTube thing, still, like, hey, you're gonna look for positions, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And as I've been, like, doing this more and more, and it's been, like, going better and better and better, I've been getting less of those questions. I feel like those questions are going to start again whenever it gets to the point where I actually quit my regular job. Like, when I quit working in a supermarket and I just do the YouTube thing, I think that's where I'm gonna get questions like really, like, not bad questions. Like, it's never been, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. It's always been, like, out of concern, like, is this gonna go well, sort of thing. Things like that. And, I totally get that from a parent's perspective, that you're worried about this really stupid idea that your kid has got. Like, he's going to go and make videos on the internet. And not porn videos, which would actually, not for me, do well, but, some people, they do quite well. Not like something that, obviously makes you money on the internet. I'm going to go make videos about tech and, like, Linux, and not programming much anymore, but, like, I don't know. I think, especially when you're, like, I'm, like, in my mid-20s, which is weird to say. It's very weird to say that I'm in my mid-20s. Because I'm, what, 24 now? I'm 24. I'm 24 now. We'll see if I have my, like, mid-20 crisis when I hit 25. Because I know some people are having those, like, oh my god, I've wasted half my 20s. And then we get to my 30s, we'll see if I've wasted half my, we've wasted, like, a quarter of my life there. We'll see if that happens. But right now, we're going good. If the channel drops off and nobody watches my content, maybe I'll feel like that by the time I'm 25, time I'm 30, or whatever. But, as it stands, we're doing good, so it's not as much of a concern. I think the thing that helps out with that is also, like, not tying my entire enjoyment in life out of how well the channel is doing. I do know of some people that do seem like they do that, where they are, and I was like this as well, like, for a very long time. It's only sort of very recently that I've managed to properly sort of separate myself and the way the channel is doing. And I still fade back into that every so often. But, like, if a video does well, I feel good for today. If a video does badly, I feel badly for today. I think what's helped out with that is kind of the recent boost in the numbers. like, I never thought the channel would get to a point where, like, a regular video is 30,000 views. Like, that's just stupid numbers. I don't understand, like, how that happened. Like, that number just doesn't make any sense to me. When it was in, like, the couple thousand range, like, I could kind of understand how it got there, but as it gets, like, as the number gets higher and higher, it leads to more of a disconnect between like, what I'm doing and the way the channel performs. If that makes any sense. Like, I put out the video, and I'm like, this is a good video. And then the views are like, this is a lot of views, and I don't understand. Like, it's so many people clicking on it that it's past that point where the number even makes any sense to me. The other thing that helps out is, when the channel's doing a little bit, not worse, you would say, like, it wasn't at this position. I could look at the number, when I got out of bed, I would look at my channel and look at the number it said there and know exactly where in my list of videos the video was performing. Now, I really struggle to, like, work out that number. Like, oh, it's 3,000 views at, like, 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what that means. Is that a lot? It probably is a lot. It's more than a video would fucking do in the entire day a year ago. So it's just... I think the best way to say it is, the number is so high at this point that it kind of feels surreal, and yeah, it kind of feels surreal. It's like, this number doesn't make any sense. I see the number there, and I'm like, okay, this is the views on the channel, but it doesn't make any, like, I can't link it back to what I'm doing. Like, I would be able to back when it was, like, 1,000 views. Like, 1,000 is still a lot of people, but, it's still, like, that's a manageable number. Like, say there was 1,000 people in a room. Like, that's a lot of people in a room, but it's not a ridiculous number. But now imagine, like, 10,000 people in a room, or 30,000 people in a room. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that's too big of a number to make any sense if you try to picture it. And I think my inability to picture those numbers is what has helped, like, cut down on the stress of how the videos are doing. Plus, just, guitar and gaming and just doing other things. When the weather actually clears up properly again, I do want to do some more golf. I haven't had a chance to over the past couple of weekends because I've been busy with stuff and the weather's been, questionable, and I don't exactly want to go do some golf when it is raining. If I was in a tournament, maybe I would. When I'm going to go out for fun, I want it to be at least minimum overcast. That is my bare minimum for going out golfing. It can be, like, really fucking windy. It can be really cold. But, like, minimum no rain. No rain is good. I have touched on, like, basically none of the topics this episode. How many have I actually talked about? I've talked about guitar. I've talked about GPUs. I've talked about... That's literally it. Wow, I sat down for like an hour or so planning out these topics, and then I talked about 3 of them so far. Well, let's do a... I'm gonna say... I was gonna say let's do a rapid fire section. That doesn't happen. I'm gonna pick, like, one topic, and then we're going to talk about that for the next, like, fucking half an hour or whatever. Let's talk about Steam Deck. Steam Deck no longer requires a reservation to buy. You know what? That's great. That's great. You can buy a Steam Deck now, and you can actually get it and not have to wait a year for it, which is good considering that a lot of people were kind of worried that if they did get onto the waiting list, by the time they actually got one, it would be, like, close to a Steam Deck 2, which would be pretty depressing. But there is a problem with, being able to buy a Steam Deck without a reservation. They still don't ship to Australia. Valve, Ship to Australia. I want to buy a Steam Deck. Let me give you money. Yeah, so that's my problem. Valve is still not shipping to Australia, which is great. And I don't know when they plan to. Steam Deck Australia. Is there any discussion on when that might actually happen? There's some discussion from like a month ago. Steam Deck production update is good for Aussies. Valve has stated in the past that other markets are on car. Just a matter of supply. Yeah. People are thinking maybe 2023. Do what? Actually, that would be hilarious. That would honestly be hilarious. If I do a Steam Deck video a year after, like a Steam Deck review a year after everybody else has, and just do it in like the most condescending way possible. I feel like there's some fun way I could actually make that work. But one day the Steam Deck will be available in 2020 in Australia, maybe 2023 possibly. You can like obviously, redirect it like a parcel forwarding system, but Valve won't directly send it to you, which is just, especially since there's no reservation, like reservation, like Valve, can you please just open shipping? Let me give you money. All I want to do is give you money, but you don't fucking want me to do so. I've heard so many good things about the Steam Deck, and I know there are other like handheld gaming PCs, but like I want to support Valve because Valve is the company that is heavily supporting Linux gaming. I know some people want to make some like dumb argument about how like it's not like as great as, some people want to make it out to be, but Valve is the only gaming company. Is there any others that I can think of? They are the only game storefront. I'll give you that. They're the only game storefront actively supporting Linux. Not just having a store on Linux, but trying to make Linux gaming actually good. They are the ones that made sure that Proton exists. Like, obviously, Proton is a fork of Wine, all that fun stuff, but Proton itself is it's got a bunch of additions on top of Wine, and that just wouldn't have existed without Valve without Valve putting a bunch of money into it. Plus, they've been like funding kernel changes and other things like this to bring Linux gaming up to a point where it's genuinely good. So I want to support Valve, but they won't fucking let me give them money. One day, I'll have one, and then we'll do a Steam Deck video. Maybe I'll just start installing Switch games on it or something. I really hope that when it becomes available in Australia, it's not like, hey, 6 months, a year later, then it's like Steam Deck 2. Because that would be very annoying. That would be very, very, very annoying. But this might be the, first console I buy since, technically in the current generation. I know it's, it's a Linux PC and all that, but the last console I bought was a PS4. And I bought that out quite a while ago. Still not bought a PS5. 1, because they're hard as hell to still buy. 2, because they are very expensive. Very, very expensive. And I don't want to spend that much money. Yeah. I'm looking right now, and it seems like there's a bundle available on Amazon. You can buy this bundle. You can buy, stop showing me stuff. PS5 with Horizon Forbidden West for $900, which is cheaper than it was a while back. That used to be $1,000. Wow. I would like to be able to just buy a PS5 by itself, but, because of scalpers and stuff like that, it's still a bit of an issue to buy. One day it won't be. One day I'll buy a PS5 a year before the PS6 comes out. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I did with the PS4. That's what I did with the PS3. Maybe it was a year and a half, 2 years. Usually when I buy a console, I buy it very close to the end of the console generation. Sometimes the next generation has even been announced. It's great because every game that's going to come out on that system is already out. Sure, it might not be as easy to find, but like you can always like any relatively popular game, or even just buying it somewhere online, you can find anything you possibly want to play. You're not waiting for games to come out when you buy a game at the end, or when you buy a console at the end of its life cycle. Like that's the problem with any release of a console. There's just nothing to play on it. Like there might be games, but none of these like killer titles that really sell a console. I guess the PS5 is kind of an exception with that because it launched. Did it launch with Demon's Souls? Demon's Souls come around just after launch. PS5 launch games. Did Demon's Souls launch with the console? All the PlayStation 5 games, all the PlayStation 5 launch games arrived day one. Okay. Right. Yeah, the Spider-Man Miles Morales? I think it's Morales. Isn't that available on PC now? I want to say it is. Assassin's Creed. Woo. Yeah, Demon's Souls was a day one. Watch Dogs Legion, Dirt 5, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, DMC5, Fortnite! Yes, Fortnite. Buy a PS5 for nothing besides Fortnite. It will run on a laptop from 6 years ago, but buy a PS5 to play Fortnite. That is the real way that the gamers live. Speaking of the real way that the gamers live, Persona 5 is very, very close to being released. Persona 5 on PC specifically. Persona 5 Royal, whatever you want to call it. 21st of October. By the time this comes out, I think this might actually be out on the launch day, or like the day before launch. I have not played Royal on console, and I've not finished the base version of P5, but I have wanted to play P5 P5 Royal for a very long time, and I considered it like just buying it on console, but considering that it's coming out so soon, man, I'm excited. What I'm worried about is whether it is going to be playable on Steam, on Proton on day one. But someone pointed something out to me that makes it like pretty clear that it is going to be playable. This right here, Persona 5 on the Steam Deck at TGS. This was the official Atlas booth, where they had Steam, the Steam Deck there in like a separate Steam category. So hopefully this means that it is playable day one. Because if it's playable day one, I'm very excited. I'm so excited. Because this is the problem that a lot of the previous Persona games had. Strikers only just barely playable. Like a couple of months ago, finally became playable on Proton. On the base version of Proton, I think this might still be some cutscene issues. With Proton GE, I believe that those are dealt with. Persona 4 Golden for a very long time was sort of half playable. It was a mess. But now it's perfectly playable. So hopefully, considering they have a booth there and someone is playing it on the Steam Deck, that it's actually playable on the Steam Deck. That would be good. It's not... If it's playable on the Steam Deck at this point, it better still be playable on the Steam Deck and playable on Linux more generally when it actually comes out. Let's see what other people are saying here. Steam being listed among those consoles is already a thing there. I'm probably going to be an outlier here. Okay, don't care about that. Good to see it before the Switch to show who is boss in the... in Tokyo in 2022. This is great to see. This is great to see. Holy shit, it's going to be Steam Deck verified. Yeah, if they've got it, like, right there, that very much indicates to me they're gonna be, like, getting it Steam Deck verified. And that would be fucking awesome. Now, hopefully they get Strikers also Steam Deck verified, deal with the remaining problems it has, and, like, get that actually, like, good. It's not a major deal. Like, it works now, but, like, I would love this to be actually Steam Deck verified. That would be cool. Even if it's not Steam Deck verified, like, they don't fully, like, deal with the program. If it's just playable on Steam Deck, I'll be so happy. Please, Atlas. Please. I want to play this game on stream. I want to play it on PC. And hopefully, like, you know, actually, no, the only issue is maybe my GPU isn't going to be able to handle it. Because it is getting a little bit old, and some games are a little bit funky. And considering it's a PC release, there may be some graphics settings that you may be able to, like, turn up. Also, it's a PS5 release, so you would hope that they've, like, up some graphics and things like that. Maybe it's gonna be an issue to run. Maybe I just need to go and actually, like, buy a new GPU at some point. buy one right now. Get it before P5 releases. Maybe. Seems like an idea. I don't know when we're supposed to be seeing the new AMD GPUs. Some people are saying maybe, like, first quarter next year. There's still, like, a lot of rumors about when it might be, what it's going to be. We don't really know much about them. We know the 4000 series is very, very close to coming out. Like, that's, like, just around the corner. Oh. Okay, wait, sorry. This is new. I didn't know about this. Join us on November 3rd as we launch RDNA 3 to the world. So I don't know if that means launch day. It very much probably won't be launch day. We're a month beforehand, and we're not seeing as... Yeah, it's announced on that day. So if they're being announced then... Considering we don't have, from what I've seen, a ton of leaks, maybe they aim, like, I don't know if you would aim for, like, you'd go November release if you're announcing it November. Maybe they are. Maybe they want to go fucking head to head with Nvidia. Because Nvidia, like, when's the 4000 series? Nvidia 4090. Release date. Okay, this is coming out... Wait, did it just come out? Hold up. Wait, I think it... Wait, okay, sorry, the 4090 is out, I guess, now. Like, I'm in United States, sure. Wait, can you buy one right now? Okay, I guess it's tomorrow. Yeah, it'd be US time, so it's out tomorrow. If they want to, like, if they release them, like, sometime in November, and they want to go, like, a month behind Nvidia's release, I'm very curious to see how that goes. That would be an interesting battle. I hope the AMD cards do well. Like, I really do. Because, well, I'm going to buy a new card at some point anyway, but I don't know whether I'm going to buy 6000 series or if the upgrade to 7000 is going to actually be worth it. I don't know. Right now, on a 570, literally anything I buy is an upgrade. It's just how much of an upgrade do I actually want to be making? Do I want to buy a generation behind and potentially get, like, a really good deal on a card? Or do I want to go current generation and just crush everything that I could want to play? Like, I am so excited about being able to play FF14 and being able to use, like a shader and make the game look really, really good. And, like, being able to crank the settings and, like, I'm getting like 120 FPS already, but like a consistent one, like 120 in Limsa La Minza, which is where all the fucking RPers hang out and are doing their cat girl dances. I get like 70 FPS there because there's just so many people there. But a solid 120 and a solid 120 when I'm streaming, mate, that sounds pretty compelling to me. Plus, I want to be able to play Elden Ring. I can play Elden Ring on my 570, but like I don't want to play Elden Ring until I have a system that can crush Elden Ring and can like run it at good settings. And that's what I'm waiting for. Wait, wait, are they gonna, if they do November? Wait, when is Black Friday? They're not gonna aim for the Black Friday window, are they? No way. No way AMD is gonna aim for a Black Friday release. That would be... Actually, that is a gigabrain. If... We'll see what Nvidia, what I keep saying Nvidia, what AMD does when they do their announcement then. But if they aim for the Black Friday window, that would be crazy. And you could do like a Black Friday, not like a massive sale. Like you don't want to do a massive sale on your like initial release card, but like some sort of kickback, like a $50 discount or a $50 kickback, something like that. And or maybe like go $100. You like price yourself $100 under the Nvidia card, and even if the performance isn't like absolute, like absolutely on par with the 4090, I'm very interested to see what AMD is going to do. Maybe they don't do that, and maybe they're like, hey, we're going to release in first quarter and skip past all of that. But if they don't, that's going to be crazy. And I might have to just go and buy one. I'm not going to buy top tier card. I'm going to wait for like I usually buy mid to upper tier. So like I'm looking at the 6700 XT right now. I would buy, the 7700 XT or whatever they end up calling it. That's usually where I like to sit. I could go higher. I don't want to go lower. But I could definitely go higher, especially now that prices are somewhat normalizing. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with the previous cards, though, as the new cards come out. I wonder how much the prices are going to drop. Because I've never really paid this much attention to card prices in that, like, generational gap. Obviously, they drop them because they're slotting new cards into that price point. It's just a matter of how far you drop something like the 6700 XT. Like, do you drop it $100, $150? Like, what exactly is going to be done there? I still love that PC Case Gear says that cards are on sale. Like, this card's normally $1,099, and it's on sale. It's been on sale. Actually, they've dropped it from, like, half the descriptions. But, like, it's been on sale for the past 4 months. It's not on sale anymore. That's just the price. I think a lot of people have been waiting patiently and very excitedly, one, for GPU prices to come down, but two, Black Friday. Because this combination, now that GPU prices are somewhat normalized and Black Friday is coming up, like, I expect there to be massive PC sales. Like, I know AMD had issues over the past, wasn't it past year, where they sold way less hardware sales. They sold way less hardware than they had actually expected to do so. I think it was AMD. Desktop CPU sales see biggest decline. Wait, no, this is just general market share. I thought someone was telling me that AMD made too much shit and didn't end up selling anywhere near as much as they had anticipated to sell. Ah, here it is. AMD Ryzen 7000 sales plummet by 70% in the second week in... Okay, is this specifically in Germany? I thought it was a more general thing. Maybe someone was, like, overblowing a story like that. I think just generally the market is down. Like, a lot of people are... You know, like, a lot of people haven't wanted to buy PC hardware. One, because they've got, like, bills and shit to pay. But two, like, prices have been fucked. And you might as well just wait to that time of the year where sales are going to happen. You don't need to buy a new GPU now. You don't need to buy a new CPU now. You can probably wait. And that seems to be what people are doing. And hopefully shit doesn't go out of stock and I can actually buy something. Hopefully. I'll hold out at least a little bit of hope. It probably won't go too well. Probably shit's gonna sell out and it's gonna be a mess, but maybe it won't be. Maybe I'll get something. But by the end of the year, well, I'll make my decision when AMD does their announcement. If they announce new cards are coming out before the end of the year, I will pull the trigger on something. Whether it's new generation or old generation, I'll pull the trigger on something. If it's not until first quarter next year, I'll probably still buy something, but it'll be obviously like the 6700 during Black Friday. Get some sort of good deal on it. Hopefully, like, you know, $600. 600 or 550 would be nice. Even honestly, 650. Like, any sort of deal. I am willing to pay the current prices. So anything less than the current prices, I am very willing to pay. As I said, 570. Anything is big upgrade. Double my performance. Triple my performance. Like, it doesn't matter what I buy. Everything is good. This is the great thing about waiting, like, either waiting a long time or buying a card that was already outdated when you bought it. Anything you buy after that is just so exciting. You want to go from 60 FPS to 180 FPS? Well, you can. Well, you can. And considering that I mainly play a lot of indie stuff, and the only, like, really performance heavy thing I play is FF14, I'm good as it is, but I want to get more. And Elden Ring. Elden Ring's very important. Speaking of things that are priced and not cheap like GPUs are getting, still not cheap, but like cheaper, the new Meta Quest Pro is a cutting-edge headset looking for an audience. Meta's new high-end headset introduces eye tracking and mixed reality for $1,499 dollary-doos. Actually, that's not even dollary-doos. That's American US dollars. I don't know what that would be in dollary-doos. Probably like fucking $2,000. This is what it looks like. Honestly, I think we're getting to the point where these headsets are kind of like, they still look ridiculous, but they're getting to the point where they're becoming glasses. This is like ridiculous looking glasses, but like they're thinning down. Like, remember the Oculus? I don't know if any of you guys have used it, but my first VR headset was the Oculus Dev Kit 2? I want to say Dev Kit, was it 2 or 1? I think it was Dev Kit 2. And then I think after that I tried I think it was the first generation Vive. Now, these are AR glasses, so it's a different thing than VR. But even then, like, we've gotten to the point where these things are, like, actually getting small. Within 10 years, I wouldn't be surprised if we do have glasses. Like, not a big headband sort of thing, like actual, you know, Ray-Ban sort of thing. From my understanding, the sort of, like, goal with this is to make things like, you know, digital meetings a more, you know, natural natural sort of thing. So the eye tracking, the facial tracking, things like that are there to make your like digital model look more like your actual like actually being a human. It's going to have more expressive movement, things like that, rather than being very static like they are now. Now, if you go look at like the VTuber space, you can see there's a lot of stuff that can be done just with like iPhone cameras and stuff like that, but having a dedicated piece of hardware is obviously always going to be better. And I'm obviously this is a very, very specific device. Like it is targeting a very specific audience. This is not a general consumer device. This is $1,500 for an AR headset. But I think in a corporate space, especially as we do move towards more of these digital meetings, these digital workspaces, I think devices like this are going to become maybe not necessity or necessary necessity. They become necessities, necessary. They are going to be a place where a lot of innovation can exist. Because a Zoom call, a Jitsi call, a Discord call, whatever you want to call it, it is a perfectly functional way of holding a meeting. But it is not like being in a room with a person. And this VR approach is sort of bridging that gap between that really computer Zoom call and that in-person meeting. And I don't care about most of the metaverse stuff. But when it comes to the corporate meeting stuff, I think that actually does have quite a bit of potential to really take off. And every step we take with better headsets like this and lighter stuff and thinner stuff and better tracking, everything we do takes us one step closer to Sword Art Online. And that is always great for me. My only concern is that when we get to Sword Art Online, it's going to be full of NFTs. But considering the market has, imploded on itself, maybe not as much of a concern as it would have been a year or two ago. But companies are still pushing hard down the NFT space. One great example of this that sort of plummeted into oblivion is one of the NFTs that Logan Paul bought for $623,000 in 2021 is now worth $10. Because NFTs are not a bubble and never were. And ignore the fact that sales are down something like 90 or so percent. Yeah. Yeah. What a fun time that was. Do you guys miss when NFTs were like this crazy thing that everyone was so excited about and then, just didn't really care about anymore? Yeah, that was fun time. This person is saying, I don't know where you got the $10 from, but, hey, is a pretty good offer on it. Someone offered $1,000. Okay, so not $10 then. $1,000 from $623,000. It's not a big difference. Either way, you lost quite a bit of money on that. Quite a bit of money. And I laugh. Look, if you're going to buy NFTs and you're going to buy an NFT for $623,000, it's not even a good picture. Like, it's one thing to buy something that Beeple makes. Like, actual good art. It's another thing to buy this computer-generated nonsense that is absolute junk. So if you're going to do that, you should lose your money. Because, economic Darwinism. It is economic Darwinism. If you are so stupid that you're going to waste your money on something like this, then, you deserve to waste your money. You deserve to lose it. But if you're someone like Logan Paul, you have so much money anyway, it doesn't really matter. If you're a regular person, well, that's that might be a bit more of an issue if you lost that money, but you're also just really bad with money anyway, so no one can really help you. Anyway, that is going to be it for me. I still didn't talk about half the stuff I wanted to talk about, but we'll just end it there. So that is going to be it. I think I said that already. Did I say that? That is going to be it for me? I think I did. Anyway, main channel, Brody Robertson. I do Linux videos primarily. I've got my gaming channel, Brody Robertson Plays, Call to the Lamb, The World Ends With You. Great games, playing them. Come and hang out or something. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, the video version is available on YouTube. If you're watching the video version, the audio version is available anywhere you can find audio podcasts. So be sure to go and check that out. That's going to be it for me, and I'm out.